In a gripping episode of the Sasquatch Theory Podcast, a guest named Dennis from Arkansas shares a lifetime of encounters that she believes point to the presence of something unknown moving through the forests of America. Calm but clearly affected by what she has experienced, Dennis recounts incidents spanning decades and multiple states, each one layered with fear, confusion, and a sense that she was being watched by something far more intelligent than any ordinary animal. Dennis explains that her encounters began long before she ever had a name for what she was experiencing. As a young woman traveling through Ohio, she recalls walking in a wooded area when an overwhelming sense of dread washed over her. Without warning, a powerful scream erupted from the forest. She describes it as nothing like a human or known animal sound, deep, forceful, and filled with what felt like raw aggression. Frozen in place, she realized the scream was directed at her. The sound carried a dominance that made her feel instantly vulnerable, as though she had trespassed somewhere she did not belong. Years later, while living near New Jersey's Pine Barrens, Dennis experienced something equally unsettling. She recalls hiking when she became aware of footsteps pacing her from the trees. No matter how she adjusted her speed, the presence mirrored her movements. Branches snapped, and the sound of heavy movement followed just out of sight. Panic set in when she realized the presence was intentionally staying hidden, yet close enough to let her know she was not alone. She left the woods shaken, convinced she had been escorted out by something that chose not to reveal itself. Dennis eventually settled in Arkansas, believing rural life would bring peace. Instead, the encounters escalated. One afternoon, while near her property line, she saw a large grayish-black figure partially concealed behind a tree. The figure was massive, far larger than a human, and moved with deliberate control. She recalls locking eyes with it briefly before it shifted behind the tree, disappearing without a sound. The intelligence in its movement disturbed her more than its size. It did not flee in panic like wildlife, it withdrew with purpose. One of the most terrifying experiences occurred late at night near her country home. Dennis was driving along a quiet road when her headlights caught a towering figure crossing in front of her vehicle. She slowed instinctively, watching as the creature moved across the road in long, smooth strides. Its silhouette was unmistakably upright and broad, covered in dark hair. She sat frozen until it vanished into the trees, her heart racing. That night marked a turning point, convincing her that these encounters were no longer distant or coincidental, they were happening where she lived. After that sighting, strange phenomena began occurring around her property. Dennis describes nights filled with overwhelming pressure, dizziness, and a vibrating sensation she later learned some researchers call infrasound. She explains that during these moments, her dogs would whine, shake, and refuse to go outside. On several occasions, she heard mechanical-sounding noises coming from the woods, rhythmic, artificial tones that seemed to mimic engines or distorted human speech. These sounds terrified her animals, causing them to hide and tremble uncontrollably. Perhaps the most unexpected encounter Dennis shares involves what she describes as a white Bigfoot living on or near her land. Unlike the darker figures she had seen before, this one appeared almost luminous, with pale hair that stood out against the forest. Rather than fear, Dennis felt awe. She describes the creature as beautiful, calm, and deeply intelligent. At one point, she sensed it observing her not as prey or threat, but with curiosity. The experience left her shaken yet strangely comforted, challenging her understanding of what these beings might be. Dennis notes that she is not alone in these experiences. Neighbors in the area have reported hearing unexplainable sounds echoing through the woods, howls, whistles, and eerie mimicry of animals and even human voices. Some claim livestock have reacted violently to unseen presences, while others speak of shadows moving just beyond the tree line. These shared experiences reinforce Dennis's belief that something unknown is actively inhabiting the region. Throughout the podcast, Dennis emphasizes that she never sought attention or fame. For years, she kept her experiences to herself out of fear of ridicule. Speaking now, she hopes that sharing her story will encourage others to come forward and compare notes, rather than suffer in silence. She believes these beings are not random monsters, but highly intelligent creatures capable of observation, communication, and restraint. Whether listeners view Dennis's account as evidence of Sasquatch activity, an exploration of the unexplained, or a deeply personal interpretation of strange events, her story is undeniably compelling. It taps into an ancient human fear of the unknown, of something watching from just beyond the firelight. The quiet woods, the heavy footsteps, the feeling of being studied by unseen eyes. Dennis's lifetime of encounters leaves one question lingering long after the episode ends. If these creatures are real, how long have they been there, and why are they only now being noticed?